Hello everyone, welcome to my channel, Even the Scales. And if you have joined me today, I'm glad that you have, because what I've got to say, I feel, is a very important message that the collective should be aware of. And also what I'm about to say, some of you may find some of it hard to believe, some of you may find it shocking, but I can assure you that everything that I am about to tell you is 100% God's truth. And if I hadn't have actually just experienced and witnessed some of the things that I've been through, I probably wouldn't believe it if someone told me these things either. Before I start giving these messages, I would like to begin by acknowledging the Dharawal people, who are the true custodians of this land that I am meeting with you all on here today. I would also like to pay respects to elders, past and present. I also extend my respect to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people listening today. So why am I making this video? I'm making this video because my community and the authorities in this community have left me no choice but to speak out publicly to protect myself. I've got a lot to get through, and I hope you forgive me if I have to look down at my notes every now and then. It's been a long time since I've made a video, so I'll just try and get through the information as good as I can. So the situation that I'm in right now is like that of a political prisoner. I am the target of what's called an MK Ultra attack, which is a tactic that's used to carry out psychological torture to manipulate somebody's mental state. So I'm the target of an MK Ultra mind control attack that's been carried out on me for around the last 2 years by police, politicians, members of the community, and also my family members are involved as well. It's been going on for around 2 years, however, it intensified around November of 2023 after I had wrote to the police explaining how the police had responded to my calls for help over the past 12 years. My calls to the police were to do with family and domestic violence that I was living and dealing with at the time. And the letter explained how I had been treated by the police and how there had been a complete lack of justice. Every time that I had called them, there had been a lack of justice, which was 11 times. Now, I've just got some statistics here from the New South Wales Bureau of Crime Statistics and Research, and there was 32 deaths last year to do with domestic violence. It's a very big problem in this country. And the reason it's such a big problem is because of how the police are responding to the calls for help. So I'd like to get to that a little bit more, maybe in another video. I'll talk about that a bit more, but right now I'd like to talk about the MK Ultra mind control that's being done on me. So to carry out this MK Ultra, I have a bug in my home where I'm listened to. Everything I do in my home is listened to. There's also a bug in my car. I'm also tracked everywhere I go, and my phone has also been hacked by many people. There's also cameras pointing at my home. The cameras detect when I move up and I move from room to room. So if I move to the front of the house, they'll send people to the front of my house to play mind games. If I move to the back of the house, they'll send people around the back of my house. So I'm tracked everywhere I go, and everywhere I go, they will send stalkers towards me. Not just one or two stalkers, but hundreds of stalkers, hundreds of members of the public. Every business that I've been a customer of in the time frame of around the last 18 months to 2 years has been involved in this in some way. And they'll use some kind of psychological abuse on me when I visit their business. So they'll cause me problems with products. If it's an online order, the post has been making sure that my orders are delayed or that things go missing or it's delivered to the wrong place. The staff in the businesses that I visit, they'll make it a point to treat other people, other customers around me very well. And then when I get to them, when it's my turn to be served, they'll treat me really horrible. They also send stalkers, like fake customers, around me when I'm out and about. So I can just be walking around in a store and then two fake customers will be standing there and they'll be mocking things that I do in my home, or they'll be mocking things that I said in my home because of the bug in my home where I'm listened to constantly. This is what they do, like they'll mock things I do when I'm in my home. So yeah, if I search a product online or anything like that before I leave the house, like they'll make sure that that product is removed from the shelf by the time that I get to the store. Like it's all to cause me psychological turmoil. It's like narcissistic abuse on a grand scale to make me feel like I'm worthless. There's nobody there to help me. Like I want to kill myself. Like this is all what it's for. Because the police don't want to take accountability for what they've done. So they want me either dead or locked up in a mental home. So this is what they've been trying to do. This is why they are carrying this out. Also, my family members have money to gain if something happens to me. There's an inheritance that they can claim if something happens to me. So this is the whole point of why this is being done. So, yeah, like I have absolutely no privacy whatsoever. And I have done nothing to deserve any of this. I'm totally innocent. I've done nothing to deserve any of it, except speak up for my rights as a citizen about how the police have treated me in the past. So that's what it's all about. So every single person that's crossed my path during that time frame is a part of this setup. They've made it so that I have absolutely nobody at all to turn to. Nobody. Even if I've reached out to other people outside of this community, whoever's coordinating the MK Ultra mind control will make sure that they get to those people before I do. And they'll either pay them off with bribe money to not help me, or they will tell them lies that I'm delusional, I'm a drug addict or something like that, just so that I can't get the help I need. So as I said, all this intensified back around 2023 and it has been constant ever since. And it's also included a setup where I was lured to the local public hospital and held there against my will for 5 weeks. This was back in February of March of 2024, this year. I was held there as an involuntary mental health patient. The whole point of them doing this in the first place was to prove me crazy or to take me out altogether. So my family, the police, some of the community, and also another organisation that I won't name right now, but they were all involved in setting this up. They all collaborated together to make this happen. So during the 5 weeks that I spent in the hospital as an involuntary mental health patient, I was put through what I can only describe as some of the most appalling maltreatment that you could ever imagine, psychologically, mentally, and physically, by everyone that was involved in it. There were specialists involved in it, ambulance drivers, doctors, nurses, cleaners, laundry staff, social workers, and even the other patients, because everyone had a role to play and it was all fake. Everything was fake. It was like they'd closed off the whole fourth floor of the building to carry this out. I knew straight away when I'd arrived at the hospital that something was very wrong, because I'm actually very intuitive, and this is what I don't think a lot of them were planning on. Like, they didn't expect me to, be so switched on as to what they were doing. What I found the hardest thing to believe about all this was that so many people were united to be a part of such a cruel plan to hurt someone in this way. That was just so unbelievable to me. As I said, everyone had a specific role to play, and they had researched my life in great detail, dating right back to my childhood, so that they could use my childhood wounds against me as a part of the psychological abuse. They had also researched my medical records so that they could use my health problems as well. But that's also actually a whole other episode on its own, to talk about what happened to me in this hospital, because there was so much. But just briefly, my food was tampered with. I was also denied proper medical attention a number of times. My family also contributed to the psychological abuse by denying me any visits. The 5 weeks that I was in there, they did come in there a couple of times for a very short period, but it was pretty much only to psychologically abuse me a little bit more. And I'm just making sure my video is still going. They come in and they contributed to the psychological abuse. They denied me visits. My family actually called me disgusting for being in the position that I was in. But it was all set up. They also refused to bring me my basic needs for self-care when I was in there. I had to actually order the things I needed online and have them delivered to the hospital, which was extremely hard, as you can probably imagine, with the stress that I was under. The fake patients that were set up, they would set up visits with their family members for me to see as a part of the psychological abuse, where their family members would come in, like their husbands and their parents and their children, and shower them with gifts, like in front of me. It was all extremely cruel. As I said, if I hadn't experienced this myself firsthand, I would find this hard to believe that humans could be this cruel to another person. But before I was set up as well to be involuntarily admitted to the mental health ward, my family and the community had put me through certain situations to make sure I was emotionally weak. One of them being that I was fed magic mushrooms without my knowledge. My family were also treating me pretty appalling, but I was putting up with it so that I could see my grandchildren at the time. When I was in the hospital, my family were also playing cruel mind games. For instance, I would mention something that happened before I was taken there, and they would turn around and say to me, "That didn't happen. What are you talking about?" Like, just to make me feel like I was going crazy. I was just completely starved of any human kindness in any way. Pretty much for the last 2 years it's been that way. as a part of this MK Ultra. The hospital was also doing anything they could to affect my health. My breathing was one of the things they were trying to affect. I have suffered with asthma in the past, but not severe or anything like that. But they were spraying aerosols around the hospital, wearing strong perfumes, aftershave. This is the nurses and the doctors, mind you. And they made sure I was in the bed next to a massive linen press that was being used all the time, where all the dust was being circulated around my room. So yeah, they were playing on my breathing problems. And I was having a bit of trouble breathing, like due to my anxiety, because they also knew that I had bad anxiety and PTSD, post-traumatic stress syndrome, from the trauma I'd been through in the past. So since I've been out of the hospital between March and now, which is the last 6 months, there's been no relief at all from the abuse. The community around me has been continuing to carry out the abuse, and this goes on 24 hours a day. From the minute I get up in the morning, the bug in my house with the person listening hears me get up, gives the signal to whoever, and they'll start with the noise. And the main weapons that they're using for these MK Ultra attacks are the transport system. Public transport as well as private transport is being used. And the idea is to create as much pollution and as much noise as possible using vehicles. So, one of the questions that I've had to ask myself through all this a few times is that how many people have they done this to in the past that haven't survived or that have gone crazy in public? Because they do this to me every time I go to the shops. So it's like they want me to lash out at people when I go to the shops, because that's when they provoke me the most, when I'm at the shops. So how many people have they done this to in the past? How many people have they sent to hospital that have never come out of hospital? Because if there's one thing I know, I was not meant to survive any of this. So, yeah, like if I go for a walk or anything, I'm stalked every time I go for a walk by car after car after car. They'll send cars past me like with really heavy exhaust fumes and really noisy vehicles as well. So it's all to play on my nervous system. That's what the whole idea of it is. It's like a spiritual attack on the nervous system and on my breathing. But luckily, thank God, my breathing's been really good. So yeah, they use all these things just to try and make me have a mental outburst. And I also want to say that the level of psychological abuse and the tactics that are being used in this could only be thought up by somebody who is really mentally ill themselves. Like whoever's doing this, whoever's thought this up has a very, very warped mind indeed. Very sick person. So yeah, as I said, they've been using any kind of vehicle or object even that creates noise to create just as much noise in the town as possible. It's like the whole town's out of control. It is. It's like the whole town's out of control and it's totally lawless as well, because the police are one of the main perpetrators of the noise making and the abuse. Because they want me to feel like I have no help. So that's why I've had to make this video. So many people are taking part in this as well. So many people are just like, yeah, I'm in for this. I'm up for this, like this is what I can't believe. The police, the council are in on it, the truck drivers, the train drivers, the cab drivers. They'll send trail bikes around, motorbikes, even aeroplanes and helicopters have been a part of this, jumbo jets, because they're all trying to cover up what they've done. The people around me are also constantly using power tools and garden tools. And, I can't understand why other people aren't sick of it, why other people don't want peace. Why do people want to live like this? Like, that's what I can't understand. But yeah, the police, the council, the politicians, the hospital staff, and all the businesses that have been involved in this are the main ones that are carrying out these attacks right now, because they've gone into panic mode, because I've been speaking out more and more about this on social media lately. So yeah, they're the main ones that I feel like right now are doing this. But I don't think they actually thought about what the big picture was going to be of this and what some of the long-term repercussions would be of this on not only people but the environment, because it's been an environmental disaster. That's what it is. It's affected the environment in a very negative way because of all the extra pollution and the noise that's been generated by the transport and the traffic. It's just absolute madness. And a lot of the birds have disappeared from the area that used to be here. We used to have a lot of birds around here. There's a lot of them have moved. And I'm sure if they look at the effects of the carbon emissions have had on the ozone layer above this area, they would find that there's been a huge increase in damage to the ozone over the past 6 months or so. And this has actually been one of the channeled messages that I've received, because I am actually a tarot reader and a psychic. And that's been one of the messages that I have been getting, is that they have affected the ozone layer over this area in a very big way in a very short amount of time. Also, the noise and the pollution levels are affecting people's health mentally. And more people are having breathing problems because of this as well. And if you think about the little babies that have, they've only been here 6 months. Say there's been a baby only here that's 6 months old, and all it's known is this noise and madness that's going on around it constantly. Like, you've only got to wonder what that's doing to the tiny nervous system of a baby. So it's these sort of things that I don't think that they thought about before they started doing this, and they just thought that it'd be easy to take me out or to get me locked up or whatever, and that's why they've just gone ahead with it all. Another thing that's been absolutely appalling to me is that there are many people around me that are actually abusing their children. They're actually abusing their children on purpose so that their children will scream and make noise. It's all just to try and affect me, my nervous system. Also animals, like the animals must be so scared. All the domestic animals around here, the birds have flown away, but the domestic animals can't run away, like they're trapped. So I can't imagine what it's doing to them. And even the council are sending people into my street to deliberately create noise, and it's constant. So, and because I have been speaking out a little bit more about this on social media lately, the police must have been a little bit worried about their image. So to improve their image, the other day they pulled a publicity stunt, and They made a series of arrests in one day. I think there was 4 different areas that they went to and arrested people, but it was all a huge publicity stunt to improve their image, and they made sure that it was televised that night on the national news as well. So, yeah, the reason they don't want to be held accountable is just because they didn't respond to my calls for help when I needed them, when I was in family and domestic violence. And I also had family members that were in the police force that protected my abusers. So this is another reason they don't want any of this being made public. I also reported a pedophile back in October of 2020 that the police did nothing about. But they did nothing about it because they wanted to psychologically abuse me. They wanted to cause me pain and anguish, like to, not have anything done about that. So this pedophile has just been allowed to continue to live a privileged life in a community, and the police have known about that. They've known very well. So I think that's all I've got to share with you today. I'd like to do some more videos in the future and talk a little bit more about domestic violence and the problems that are going on, and also about what I went through in the hospital. I've got so much to talk about with the things that have happened to me over the past 18 months to 2 years. And I'd also like to bring some of my channel messages to the collective. So I'll try and get back on here again in the future. But in the meantime, I thank you all for listening to this message, and God bless you all, and I'll talk to you again soon. Bye.